Welcome back to Focus on Southeast. I'm Dan Woods, General Manager of KRCU Public Radio. We're talking today with Southeast President Carlos Vargas. The university has developed a draft policy to address tobacco use on campus, which will be presented to the Board of Regents in February for their review and approval. So what are some of the details on this draft policy that's been developed?
Well, it's basically what we are going to be proposing to the Board of Regents is that there be no use of tobacco. I don't want to use specific terms because the policy actually goes into details such as what is the specific device that you can use or not use.
Because there are many now.
Because there are many now. And so we're developing this draft. We have sent it out for comment, making sure that people give us their perspective. When every person reads it, they focus their attention on this or that, and so that's what we want to hear. We want to understand that. But basically, we will become one more campus in Missouri who, well, not only campus actually, I must say one more university in Missouri where smoking and tobacco will not be allowed. So, because this will apply to not only the Cape campus but also the Sykeston, Malden, and Kennett.
Broadly, what's been the response from the constituencies? Are folks pretty much in agreement that this needs to happen overall or not?
I have been surprised how at the response from the community, it's not been very strong. In some ways, I feel that the community seems to be ready for this to happen. That's at least my interpretation. We talked to the students. The students did a very thorough survey of pros and cons and perspectives from different students. And of course, you do find in some cases students who say, well, you know, why should we not have the ability to do it? But for the most part, there is agreement at this point. There's consensus that this is something that is a positive development for the university, and that people, I would say, maybe they're not tired, but they really want something to happen, because I know that this conversation started a few years ago. I think a couple of years ago, the conversations got to the point where it felt that it was going to happen, that the university was going to move in that direction. It didn't happen. So what I decided to do, rather than just say it's going to happen, is we still went to talk to the community, and we wanted to have the input. So we went around, talked to everybody, got input, became convinced that there was support for this type of action, and so at this point we're going to be proposing it to the Board of Regents to make it a reality.
You may not want to go into much detail on this, but I wanted to ask you about non-compliance, because the draft says reports of non-compliance will be investigated by the appropriate office and may result in disciplinary action. I'm just curious what kind of action may be taken, whether it's a student or a staff member. What would happen?
Well, it would be probably different. Let me just say to you that we're not putting a terrible amount of emphasis on the compliance area, and the reason for that is I believe that this is something that is going to create a change in the culture, and I think compliance is going to increase as we move forward. I don't believe that it's necessary that we go from where we are right now to 100% compliance, or that we expect that, because the resources needed to do that would be quite high. And you also run the risk of creating an environment that is not a positive environment in the institution. I believe that in some ways peer pressure is going to play a role here. Clearly, individuals who work for the university are in a different situation. They, of course, have to abide by certain rules. The university has the ability to communicate to those individuals what is acceptable and not acceptable from the perspective of their association to the university as an employee. But in terms of the students, then they have, of course, much more latitude in terms of how they respond to these changes. But I believe that students, visitors, individuals on campus will increase the level of compliance as we move forward. We will make allowance for example, in the Show Me Center, there will be an area there that people will be able to go to smoke. The same thing will happen at the River campus. But in other areas, I think we are going to expect that to be the case, that there be no smoking or use of tobacco products.
Okay. Let's spend a little time talking about 2017, what's coming up this year. What are some of the things that you're focused on as president looking ahead to this year?
Well, we're going to continue to work very aggressively on trying to improve our retention at the university and improve our graduation rates. We're working very actively on making sure that we review our general education curriculum. I think it's important that we continue to recruit students, so we are making a big effort in establishing a closer relationship with community colleges, not only Three Rivers and Mineral Area Community College, which are very close to us, but we're also looking at other colleges closer to St. Louis.
Okay.
And we have visited them. We are in the process of establishing agreements with them that will allow them and us to work closer together so that the students that may be considering coming to Southeast find it easier to make that transition. So we are trying to, in some ways, work towards making sure that the staff at the community colleges, or a certain individual there, be very well versed in our systems. And actually we will even provide access to some of our systems to make sure that they are able to do a better job at advising some of the students as to how to proceed to become a student at Southeast Missouri State University. So we're really excited about this, because I really believe that what we're doing is we're creating that bridge that students can walk on to make it easy to go from the community college to the university. So we're doing that very aggressively, and we're excited about that.
Well, sometimes for a student leaving community college and coming to a university, which is much larger, can be a scary thing sometimes.
I think so. Students may get comfortable in the community college, and again, like you said, this is a larger institution, more complex in some ways. And it's perhaps not as complex as it would appear to a student coming from high school, but it nevertheless is a different environment, and so we want to make sure that the students understand, what they're getting into, as well as we're doing that for the high school students. So we're working with them. We're excited that last year we had a significant growth in the incoming freshman class. Last year our freshman incoming class went up by about 9% or so that was very nice, over 150 students. So we're excited about seeing how this year turns out, but we're hoping that there will be a continuation of that pattern, so that it doesn't really represent just a flip or a glitch in the data. So we're hoping that we are communicating to the community, to the students, what the university has to offer, which is something very good.
Okay, well, let's take another break.
Sure.
When we come back, we'll ask Dr. Vargas about a visit by a widely recognized figure in science who will speak at Southeast as our region observes a rare total solar eclipse in August. That's next on Focus on Southeast. Stay tuned.